You are listening to 600 Saga. Today's feature is Flash City by Donald Carrick. As soon as the flash begins, his footstep hits the ground, and he is back where he belongs, treading silently between the breaths of the world. His footsteps are truly silent, since sound waves require time to move as much as anything else does. And since air requires time to move, he never, ever removes his suit. If any of the people around him were aware of him, he imagines he would be a very strange sight, perhaps even frightening. His entire body is covered in a thick gray suit. On his back he carries an oxygen tank, connected to his featureless gray mask by a hose that, from the right angle, makes him resemble a poorly drawn elephant. Around the suit sits the invisible field. The technology is entirely beyond him. Entirely beyond everyone whose brain is still true organic. But all he needs to understand is that thanks to the field, he has a few minutes of time to walk through the city and do his job before he must return to the present, before the past starts rolling forward again. He begins his task. Today he has been assigned the collection of everyday items. The idea is not to aid investigation of any particular field of study or piece together evidence regarding a specific event, but rather to simply gather fragments from the everyday. These stolen pieces of lives of strangers are, he believes, intended to form part of an artistic project of some kind, though he is unsure of the title. He begins with a wallet. The owner has it in his hands, rifling through it in order to pay the food vendor across from him. It doesn't take too much effort to yank it out of the owner's hands. Next, in a moment of laziness, he takes the small hamburger he supposes the man had been intending to pay for. Once it has passed through the field and nestled into one of his pockets, he can feel the burger there, warm and squidgy. He regrets his choice, but cannot be bothered to undo it. He won't be here for much longer, and it isn't as if it would have ever been any use to the guy with the wallet in the first place. He continues about his task, selecting items essentially at random, scrapbook pieces of frozen lives, a pen, a flower, a wedding ring. He gathers all of these and more and seals them away in his pockets behind the field. As he works, he is struck, not for the first time, by how bright it is here. All the shadows stretch out long and bold, appearing almost completely black in contrast to the intensity of the light. The light itself is so powerful he dares not look up into the source. He does not trust his suit's goggles to adjust fast enough to save him from being blinded. He likes this pair of eyes quite a bit. One of the unfortunate aspects of temporal retrieval work is that thanks to the much popularized butterfly effect, you couldn't simply step in anywhere and take whatever you wanted. If you were going to cause the kind of disruption a retrieval on this scale with so many subjects would inevitably cause, it wasn't even acceptable to steal from those who were about to die. It was only acceptable to steal from those who would soon be, quite literally, atomized. There were thankfully only a handful of moments in pre-amalgam human history where this was possible. They were always places like this: London, Shanghai, San Diego, Nagasaki, Hiroshima, and the others. The tragic little club of the Flash cities. By stepping in between the microseconds, when the flash began, and the one in which it engulfed the city, a retrieval operative was greeted by a perfect subject area. No amount of disruption would have any impact whatsoever on the timeline. It didn't matter how many proverbial butterflies you crushed. As soon as you stepped back out, the butterflies would be vaporized along with everything else. Gone in a flash. When he is done, all samples collected, he needs only to step away and he'll be home. But instead he pauses. His eyes become inextricably caught on something. He walks closer. Yes, there it is. He smiles behind his mask. The pale blue wings shot through with bright pink and flecked with yellow. The tiny, fragile body suspended in the air, frozen without time. An actual butterfly. He has never seen one in real life before. He is unsure if he smiles because of dark humor, because he has finally seen one for real, or simply in quiet appreciation for the sheer, unimaginable beauty of the tiny thing. All that matters is that he is smiling. But then, of course, the moment passes. His smile falls, and he steps away. Time to go home. And then, ugly and simple and inevitable, there comes a flash. This was Flash City by Donald Carrick. Donald Carrick is a writer and public speaker from Glasgow, Scotland, and he is currently based out of the city of Edinburgh. He has previously collaborated with Max Taylor and 600 Saga contributor Andrew Milne on the science fiction, short fiction collection Tales of the Verse, and has delivered several lectures for charity organization The Ragged University. You can hear him fortnightly on the film review podcast Two Friends Watch. His writing is mainly focused on the genres of science fiction and horror. His first novel, solo short fiction collection, and comic book series remain, for now, works in progress. Find links to his lecture from the Ragged University and his podcast Two Friends Watch in our show notes. Music is provided by Mads. Learn more about 600 Saga, our authors, how to submit your flash fiction, and how to support the podcast in the show notes. This has been Mariah Avix and 600 Saga.